Hey guys, how's it going? This is Michael.
This is Kyle.
And this is our long-awaited, couldn't wait to do this, have been waiting a long time for this, spoiler review of Infinity War. So that is a disclaimer. Spoilers ahead. So if you have not watched the film or don't want any spoilers, log off now.
Yeah, you don't want to watch this because we're going to spoil everything.
Every single thing you could imagine.
And if you're a person who hasn't seen the movie but doesn't care anyway, don't do it to yourself. You don't
Go
want to
see the movie. Go see the
you
movie.
don't want to hear these spoilers. It's worth it.
We'll take the hit on the view if you just go watch it and then come back to us. You know,
that's not taking a hit on the view.
Okay, well, it's actually doubling up the views, but don't tell them that. No, I'm kidding. But in any case, all right, we've given you sufficient warning. This is the spoiler. Let's get into it. Infinity Wars. What did you think?
Okay, first of all, emotionally, this was such an emotionally heavy movie, which I was not expecting to be. I mean, it's not just
invested. I was invested.
It's not just one scene, and now that we're in the spoilers, right? The deaths in this movie, there were
real deaths or the snap deaths?
Well, okay. So I'm just talking about the real deaths
now.
The real deaths
were heavy,
and I mean I think we're both of the mindset that people who were vaporized at the end with the gauntlet, most of them, if not all of them, will be restored by the end.
And there's a lot of people going like, "Oh, my snap theory is it's not your snap theory. That's what everybody thinks that." Okay, after the snap and people die, everybody thinks that's the thing. Okay, so we don't need to attribute snap theories to it.
But it was emotional, and even the snap deaths, even the gauntlet deaths from Thanos. Spider-Man.
Yeah, Spider-Man was gut-wrenching.
Because you know what I realized thinking back on that movie, and I do want to see it again.
What?
But at the very beginning, Tony Stark was talking to Pepper Potts about how he had a dream about a child. He was ready to have a child. And he had his protege, his adopted son in Spider-Man die in his arms at the end of it. And Spider-Man also wanted the same thing. He wanted, he doesn't have a father figure, right, in his life. Like, and they needed each other, and that was so emotional.
It's impactful.
It was complete. Like, it was such a good.
And think about
arc.
if you're Pepper Potts right now, you're on the phone with him, and then the alien ship comes down, and then he's like, "Oh, I got to go do this," and he's leaving. So don't be on that ship. Don't be on that ship. That's the last you ever hear from Tony Stark in the rest of that movie. Yeah, that's the last thing you hear from it.
You think she's gone? Maybe she got dissolved.
Half the people did. I'd say there's about a 50-50 chance that she's gone.
So, but yeah, that one. I mean, even Bucky in the very beginning when he was getting to. I mean, it's really funny because you saw that happen to Bucky, and you're like, oh my god, what's going on?
Yeah, that was crazy. That was the first one. The first one was Bucky because he was just
insane.
And then he just goes.
He's like Cap, and then he just starts and you're like, what? And then you start seeing it happen to more people, and you're like, oh my god!
And honestly,
he won.
Okay, I don't know. I didn't necessarily see Thanos actually snap. I thought they were exaggerating that whole thing that he could snap and everybody would be gone. I thought they were exaggerating. He did. That's what he did.
In the comic books, there's like the very famous story panel of him. Like, just it's a black and white silhouette image. It's like that, and it just says the word "snap" over it.
Yeah,
and he wins.
Yeah,
half the people in the universe die.
Yeah,
or they're just gone. Or I mean, there's the theory that they're not actually dead.
They're in the soul.
They're in the soul stone, in the soul world or whatever.
Which I think is hokey, but okay.
Well, I don't know if it's hokey, but that to me was where Thanos was transported at the end when he saw Gamora, the baby Gamora. Because the only power we really didn't see was the Soul Stone power.
Yeah.
But he went to that world, saw Gamora. Like, what did it cost? Everything.
Yeah.
And like it was like
the
background was the same color as the stone and everything.
That scene in itself, where he's like, "What did it cost?" Everything. Like that was heart wrenching.
It was
like it was a heavy toll on Thanos, and he's the villain,
Right.
But like they did such a good job building his character and building up his point of view and building him up the entire movie so that he did seem very, very emotional.
So that's what stuck out
to him.
That's what stuck out to us right away.
Yeah.
So, but let's try and go with the movie beats right now.
Okay.
The introduction of Thanos. Thanos beats the crap out of the Hulk.
Yeah.
That's how he's introduced.
But before that, though, Thor Ragnarok, at the end of that movie...
Rendered completely moot.
Okay, at that point. That movie was completely gone, but with the exception of... We won't talk about the eye patch right now, but everything else. But at the end of the movie, Asgard lives where the people live. They made a whole big thing about that at the end of the movie. It's the people. And then at the end of the movie, they see the ship, and at the very beginning of the movie, this next movie, everyone's dead. So I'm just like,
is in the soul world.
They just complete. I don't even think they're in the soul world now. They're just dead. Yeah, man, they're dead.
Asgard is in the underworld. That's where the home is.
Yeah, and that was a kind of a thing that struck me. I'm like, you made this whole big ending in Thor Ragnarok that Asgard is as long as we're alive, and then just the next in a snap, they're all dead.
Oh, nice, nicely done. Yeah. But, it's different directors, different visions about where the stories go and everything. Yeah. And I actually didn't mind it only because, theoretically, they can all be restored by somebody else wielding the gauntlet, at some point or whatever. Yeah. Since you're granted infinite powers. But
that is before the start.
But I will say, in that same scene, that's the very beginning where he beats the crap out of the Hulk.
Yeah, that was really cool.
And he kills Loki.
Yeah.
And that is a huge, huge death for this universe because Loki...
Do you think Loki's actually dead?
Yeah. I think all of the corporeal deaths and not the gauntlet, the snap deaths, I think they're gone. I think they're dead.
No, now, I mean Loki in himself, though, because he's died before, but he's come back.
Right, so but Thor does mention later in the movie, I think he's actually gone this time. Yeah. And I think that...
There's some gravitas to that one.
And that is part of the problem with what the writers have wrote themselves into, is when someone actually dies, you might not feel like they're actually dead. I do.
Especially with Loki. Especially with Loki.
And I would have loved it if Loki showed up at the end.
That would have been really
And you're
cool.
like again, and the god of mission. How did you get out of that one?
And maybe he did show up at the end, but he got snapped death, and so we didn't see him.
I'm pretty sure Loki's dead.
Yeah, I think he is.
And the death of Loki means that I'm not sure if Thor is on borrowed time or not. I'm not sure how long any of the original cast of the Avengers are. Yeah. Who, by the way, were the only sole survivors.
Yeah, they all lived.
It was all the original cast, which means that you'll probably, most likely, get one last hurrah in the next movie with the original cast, which is what they're trying to do. And my guess is they're going to have to make some sort of sacrifice in order to bring everybody back.
And I think,
and then you have the new Avengers.
Honestly, at the end of the movie where they just have the original Avengers come, and they're the only ones that are living, I think that's a good way to segue into the next movie, because I feel like even though this movie was amazing and it did a really good seamless job of bringing everybody together, if you take a look at one story in particular, like the Doctor Strange, Iron Man, Spider-Man narrative, you take all those scenes and put it together, that's maybe 25 minutes of the movie, 20 minutes of the movie. So you don't get too much development through that type of thing. Same thing with, Thor and the Guardians, another 20-25 minutes of the movie. You kind of break it up, so you don't get a ton of character development. So I think that might have been their segue to go back to the original Avengers, which had, an entire 2-hour development with those characters. So maybe that was a way to kind of go back to developing characters as opposed to having a conglomeration of characters.
Yeah. No, that makes complete sense. And I think you do get more development with the fewer characters you have in the next movie. But, I mean, that's also...
that's not to say that seeing everyone come together wasn't super cool.
No, it absolutely was. And one of my favorite parts about this movie was the pairings. Yeah. After
They had really good pairings.
After they destroyed the Asgard ship, the first pairing we got was Thor with the Guardians of the Galaxy. Yep. And I think that was the most natural pairing in terms of all the different movies and everything, because they both are in space. They both live in that kind of the world.
And it would have made sense if Hulk was in there, too, until... what's the guy's name? Idris Elba's character.
Heimdall.
Until he transported him back to Earth, which, again, was one of my biggest gripes about the movie, but I digress for now.
Wait, why?
Okay, so here's my thing. Hulk, the entire series, whenever Bruce Banner is the Hulk, and then he goes back to Bruce Banner doesn't know what the Hulk did. Right? We see this when he's in the first Avengers, when he's destroying everything on the ship, and then he gets off the ship and he lands onto the barn, and then he talks to the janitor or whoever it is, like, oh, what did I do? Who did I hurt?
Well, even more recently in Thor Ragnarok, he was surprised that he had been Hulk for 2 years.
Yeah, exactly, right? So he had no idea what happens when he's Hulk, and in the movie, obviously, he's Hulk, and then he gets transported to Earth, and then the next scene, Bruce Banner is telling Iron Man what's happening, and Thanos and blah, blah, blah. He's explaining all this stuff. And I'm like, dude, you've already established in this universe that Hulk can't remember things when he's the Hulk. So to me, that's unparalleled. To me, that's something that they established and then they broke. So one way or the other.
Yeah.
So that was one of my biggest because
I'm okay with that.
But if Bruce Banner doesn't warn Doctor Strange or any of that stuff, then or Iron Man, then a lot of that stuff doesn't take place. So that was kind of
You're saying it's convenient that Mark or Bruce Banner remembered that Thanos beat the crap out of the Hulk to tell everyone back on Earth when it's never been established that he can remember what
exactly. That is a linear continuity thing. That's a linear continuity thing that kind of just broke, and it was in order to let everybody on Earth know what was happening while everyone was away.
I choose to believe that Heimdall gave him the power to remember on that thing. So that's my little retcon for it.
Okay, fine. Well, another thing I heard was that obviously there was some type of dialogue going on with Bruce Banner and the Hulk when he's like, no, that type of thing.
But that was only located in this movie. It wasn't located
exactly.
In the movie,
but maybe that was retroactively kind of saying that, okay, there is a dialogue between Hulk and Bruce Banner.
Yeah.
But I don't buy that one either. So that to me is plot hole number one.
Okay, so then Hulk gets transported to Earth. And then you see Doctor Strange and Iron Man.
Super cool. Doctor Strange.
Awesome. And it's really
but mooted in this movie. But go ahead.
But I would say wait, he was what?
He was mooted, yeah.
Oh, yeah, he was. He was a bit nerfed in the movie.
In Thor Ragnarok,
he was like teleporting from place to place.
Yeah, he was teleporting from place to place. Like nobody could even touch him. Like they wanted to beat him up. Like Thor wanted to beat him up. Loki wanted to beat him up, and he's just like, get the hell out of here.
Yeah,
And in this
he was
movie,
nerfed a little bit.
And in this movie, he was just like, all I have are shields. And like he didn't do too much, which kind of bummed me out. Especially using he has the time stone. Come on, bro, use it. Use it to some degree, at least.
We'll get to a scene later when I think he could have used the time stone in a failing way, which would have showed at least he had tried to use the time stone in a way. But I'll get to that later when we talk about it. It's the Peter Quill thing on the planet.
Okay.
But no, one of the great things I remember seeing was, or I remember thinking was, how are Doctor Strange and Iron Man going to get to, how are they going to interact?
Because they both have the same personality.
They're the same character.
Yeah,
they have the same goatee. I mean, they're the same exact person. But they worked really well together. And it goes to show you, like how great actors these guys are and how much, they must really be friends in real life and, have all this off-screen chemistry together.
They really did do a great job of melding each other. The one thing I didn't like about that scene is that when Doctor Strange had all the pins and needles coming at him, and Spider-Man and Iron Man helped him out by, getting the guy off. You ever see that really old movie Aliens? Okay, talk about the one-liners. The one-liners in this movie,
dude, the comedy hits
amazing. Comedy hits so naturally.
Even going back when Thor was meeting the Guardians of the Galaxy and Thor was kind of hitting on Gamora and, Drax is just like, oh, that you're a boy. That's a man on the table, right?
Yeah, that was
all of that. I have never been in a movie where so much of the comedy landed. There's one or two that were kind of okay, you're going a little long, but every other one, all the comedy landed in that movie. Yeah. I was laughing, and it felt lighthearted, and it does give you a false sense of security because when the emotion hits, it hits hard.
Yeah.
A lot of it hits hard. And that, I think, did better. This movie did that better than any other Marvel movie to date. And that is hit you with the emotional, I was shedding tears at some parts in this movie, it was insane. I got the oh my god, I'm getting choked up here. Happened a lot in this movie.
But to finish off my point for that scene, the part that I didn't like was Doctor Strange wasn't really grateful at all that Spider-Man and Iron Man helped him. He was screwed, man. He was up there. He had the things on him. He was trying to grab the stone. He was screwed. He literally couldn't get out of it.
He had him exactly where he wanted him.
Yeah,
yeah.
And then Doctor Strange was kind of just a dick afterwards. Didn't even say thank you. I'm like, okay, come on, bro. Come on.
He doesn't have time for that.
He just saved your life, bro. Come on.
He's above thank yous. He's above thank yous. I will say, when the Thanos spaceship first arrived in the city, there was a very all the music went away, and it felt more like a scary horror movie. He was gonna look around the corner, the camera's following Tony Stark from behind, and he's running down the streets and everything.
Yeah, that was kind of like a Blair Witch Project.
Yeah, exactly. And then I thought you was turn around the thing and see Cloverfield, tearing buildings up or something, or Godzilla. It had that kind of feel to it, and that was just another great, cool feel to the movie.
And that was kind of the theme of the entire movie. Is just every scene was so well done. Every single little scene in order to create this entire movie cinematic experience. Just every scene was completely well done. They didn't skimp on any of the scenes, so I thought that was really cool.
No, absolutely. I don't know what they could have cut out of the movie. I'm sure the first cut of the movie was probably 3 hours long, and they cut down 40 minutes of it. But Man, like there was the movie moved so fast. It moved
it did.
So fast.
It picked
did
up.
not feel like 2 hours.
And then as soon as something dire happened in the other one, they switched to the next storyline, and then they started going from there. Like,
and it was just constantly moving. It was it was always going forward. It never slowed down.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
The beat, the pace of the movie, it was fast action. Okay, you get to develop a little bit of the storyline, then action. Then you get a little bit of the other storyline. Then it was really well done.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Itself.
Yeah. But okay, so I mean they're on the ship. Spider-Man gets his iron legs spider suit.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool.
That was really cool. That's straight from the comic books.
Yeah. Iron Man has his nanotech that he's going
nanotech.
Over. Yeah.
I mean,
is that Wakandan, by the way?
So it was.
He said nanotech, so like, and there is nanotech is a thing, you know. Yeah. So I don't know if that was necessarily Wakandan.
I mean, it looked like vibranium technology.
It kind of did to me too,
but I don't think it was. I think it was just an evolution. I mean, think about where he was in the first movie and the iron suit he built in the bunker.
Yeah.
And then he built an actual Iron Man suit, and now it's just like it's just
and then he put it on different parts, and then he stepped into it.
Later in the movie, you see his helmet get ripped off, and then another one materializes over. Like, it's so cool. Like, but I mean, I will say like this nanotech is a way for them just to hurry up and get costumed instead of having to wait forever. Like, think about like, oh, how are they going to get their costumes on and everything? Yeah. Very cool. And then like he fired the cannon from his like the super laser when the children of Thanos came down, and I really do love that one guy with the alien face, who's always like, "Hey, be gracious."
Voldemort.
Voldemort.
Yeah.
I think his name is Maul something. I forget his name.
Voldemort is what his name is.
No, it's not Voldemort. But he's like, he comes down like a religious figure, like, "You all get to die today on the hands of Thanos. Be grateful." And I was like, he was such a cool character.
He was a really good hype man for Thanos.
No, he was. Oh, absolutely. And God, man, was he OP like in that battle,
dude? Everything. So that was okay. And we got on to my next gripe. Okay, Thor lived outside of space. He's a god, or whatever. This dude has telekinesis. He can warp things with his mind, and a little bit of space kills him like instantly. I mean, I'm just like, we've seen people live in space before. I mean, is that really going to kill this?
Yondu died in space in Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, like, people die in space.
Yeah, but he wasn't able to control things with his mind. Well,
he wasn't a god.
Too, but
Thor was a god, so he won't die in space. Yeah. And the only other one we've seen in space is Peter Quill. He won't die in space because he's part god.
Yeah.
Or part celestial.
Maybe that is continuous.
Space is a great killer. Like, if you want to kill someone, just throw them in space. Okay, so yeah, we're going through there, and then we get to so Gamora going to nowhere to kill Thanos.
Okay.
And
with the Collector.
To go to the Collector to find the Reality Stone. Yep. And they think that they're watching the Collector say, "No, I don't have the Reality Stone anymore." Yeah. And Thanos and Gamora gets up there and tries to stab him and kill him. And it's funny because Peter Quill has the line like, "Oh, that was quick." Like it was a really funny line, and then
I like how right before that though, everyone's like, "No, Drax, don't go out there, don't go out there." And then so she puts him to sleep, and then immediately after that, Gamora goes out.
Yeah,
like she was like, "No, don't go out there." Okay,
I told you to go right.
Okay, let's go.
I told you to go right.
Okay, well, hurry up and wake Drax up. He can help.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, but it was when she killed Thanos, and then Thanos reveals that he had the Reality Stone.
And that was it was kind of cool that he revealed that Thanos revealed that was essentially a test to see if Gamora still loved him or not. And which I thought was kind of a cool kind of tweak.
Yeah, exactly. And that was a key scene right there because it showed you that Gamora does care about Thanos.
Yeah.
But she understands that he has to die because what he wants is evil in her opinion, right?
Yeah.
And it does show you that Thanos does care about Gamora for not like killing her right there and saying, I thought you did care about me and now it's confirmed or whatever. And we get the first test. This is this is a huge theme that runs through the movie. It's what do you sacrifice to get what needs to be done?
Yeah.
And Peter Quill had the first test of this. And you'll see Scarlet Witch had a test of it. Thanos has a test of it. Doctor Strange has a test of it later. It's easy to sacrifice yourself to do what is right. I mean, it's easy. It's really, it's hard, but it's the easier thing to do.
Cinematically, hero-wise, it's easy.
What if doing the right thing meant I kill you? What if it meant that...
Makes it a little more difficult.
Exactly. So would you be willing to sacrifice someone you love for the greater good? And we saw that Peter Quill passes this test in this moment because he does pull the trigger at Gamora and he basically says, "Yeah, I don't want to. I love you, but I'm willing to kill you in order to save the universe because of the knowledge she has of where the Soul Stone is."
Yeah.
And Thanos, before he teleports away with the Tesseract, I mean, he makes the gun a bubble gun.
Yeah.
Which I used to sell at Disney all the time. He makes it a bubble gun, changes reality, and he backs out saying, "I like you." Acknowledging in Peter Quill that he has what it takes to do the right thing no matter how hard it is. And he sees that in himself later in the movie, that he's willing to sacrifice something that he loves, that he cares about, in order to do what he believes is right.
How raw of a deal does Gamora get in this movie, where she has to be sacrificed not once but twice out of love?
Oh man,
she has to be sacrificed twice out of love.
I just thought it was very fitting that Thanos didn't kill everyone right there, or re-put together back like Drax and Mantis.
Yeah.
Which was a really cool effect when she was all strung out and he was turning the blocks.
Okay, fine. Which is again probably for me gripe number 2 is that Thanos had the opportunity.
No, you're on 4 or 5.
Okay,
right
fine.
now.
Gripe number 4 or 5. Thanos had the opportunity to kill almost every Avenger
but
at
he's
some
not about
point
killing
in this
them.
movie. But okay, you know what? I thought about that. You're right. His MO is he wants to destroy half the the universe.
He wants to balance.
He wants to balance half the universe so that there's plentiful resources for everybody, so nobody can so everybody can live.
And he was right, because that one world that he did that to, it was now a paradise to live into. So just saying, but go ahead.
Okay, to top that off, what happened at the beginning of the movie?
The opening credits.
What happened after the beginning of the movie?
He
kills everyone he kills every Asgardian. Does that sound like balance to you? He kills every single one except for one.
Don't get it.
He kills every single Asgard except for one.
But
for no reason.
But he didn't have all the stones that could have.
He has stones, trust me. If he goes and takes on the Hulk, he has some stones.
Not really. The Hulk wasn't much of a threat, apparently.
But I'm just saying, okay, that's a little bit of a continuity thing for me. Okay, if you want to say that he's all about balance and everything, why'd you kill every single person on Asgard? You extinguished almost an entire race with the exception of one person, Thor. So that signals you as evil, but later on you're gonna let everybody else live that is eventually gonna take you down. These are the people. If anybody's gonna take you down, those are the people to do it.
That's what I'm saying. I wonder if at the end of the movie, did he have a choice of which ones went? Because or is it 50-50? Because if he had a choice of which one, I would do 100% of all the Avengers.
Yeah.
So they can't do anything to you. But I don't think.
So if he didn't, just to mark that real quick, if he didn't have a choice, does that mean he had a 50% chance of dying himself?
I'm gonna guess probably not, because he had the gauntlet and the power.
He was protected by it.
He was probably protected by it. Well, and then end credits was Captain Marvel.
Yeah,
affected by it.
Yes, that's another thing too.
No, she wasn't. Obviously, she's not affected by it.
Why? Why is that so obvious? Well, it is obvious knowing that we know where they're going to go with the storyline, kind of. But that's not necessarily obvious to Samuel L.
Well, right, but I think you start seeing people dissolve. I don't think instantly what's happening. I don't think you realize, Thanos, this guy who I've never seen before, has these Infinity Stones, which I know that there's a few on Earth or whatever, and he has all of them, and his goal was to kill everyone, or half the universe, but whatever.
Anyway, back to the Reality Stone, and on that planet, though.
Yeah. On nowhere?
Yeah, super cool, bending him, turning him into, blocks, and then, but it all goes away once he leaves, which, again, is kind of, why'd you do that, that was a really cool scene on that movie. Or on that planet anyway.
And I just will say, this is a Thanos movie. If you just look at it from the perspective of Thanos, he had to be the main character, and this was his movie, and we experienced what he was trying to do. And for better or for worse, you understand why he's doing what he's doing. And I think that was such effective storytelling, and especially with the time constraints of 2 hours and 15 minutes, that you were able to look like a villain who we really haven't seen on screen. We had a glimpse of him in Guardians of the Galaxy,
and he actually looked different in the prior movies too. He looked a lot.
He looks fantastic in this movie, and I was always afraid of a CG character, and they did kind of poke fun of him a little bit, making fun of his purpleness and everything. But he looked fantastic.
He did look really good.
To all the CG characters.
Actually, this kind of came to mind, though. Isn't it kind of odd that one of the most powerful beings, if not the most powerful beings / race in the universe, is only a couple planets away from us? On the Titan, it's the Jupiter's moon. Is Titan? Yeah.
No, that's correct. That is one of the moons, but this is a different part of the galaxy.
Really? I could have sworn that it was actually Jupiter's moon that is where he's from. Really?
Yeah, he's on the other side of the galaxy.
Anyway, guys, if you guys know, let us know down below. Comment: is he actually from Titan, Jupiter's moon?
Please ignore him.
Is it? Or is it something
this
else?
one.
Just I gotta know if I'm right on this.
No. But anyway, so I want to just skip to the Soul Stone scene.
Soul Stone. Okay. One of my favorite scenes, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, Soul Stone. Wait. Are you talking about the on the planet?
He has to sacrifice
Morville, or not Morville. What's the name of the movie? We'll call it Morville for now. I can't remember what the name.
We
just
don't have to call the planet anything. The planet where the Soul Stone hides.
The planet where the Soul Stone hides. The planet where Red Skull is.
Yeah. Okay. So let's just start there. What is Red Skull doing there?
Okay. So apparently, when he was fooling around with the Tesseract, it sucked him up.
Right. So either transport him there, or some shenanigans happened to him over the last 10 years, where he wound up cursed and protecting a stone that he could never get his hands on, or whatever. And he was a keeper. Yeah. So, but it also wasn't voiced by Hugo Weaving.
Vormir. That's what it is.
Boromir. He wasn't voiced by Hugo Weaving, who was the original person who played him, Red Skull, because he wasn't a big fan of the Marvel Universe. Yeah. So he was voiced by somebody else. But it is nice to see the Philly character and see what happened to him, because that was a huge loose end that they really just let go.
It's kind of cool illusion there, and apparently that's in the comics as well, I believe.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They drew a lot of this movie from the comics,
right?
Which apparently Hulk smashing into Earth, getting into Earth, and letting everybody know that Thanos is here. Apparently, that's straight out of the comics as well.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
There's
really?
a lot of stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of this movie happened from the comics.
Well, right,
they pulled it straight out of the comics. So,
but okay, Gamora, the Soul Stone, and
did you buy that Thanos loved Gamora?
Yes, 100%. And I can't. It bewilders me that people actually didn't believe that he. I know. Oh, movie fight about this, or a movie melee, whatever we're trying to call that thing.
Yeah.
It absolutely. I believe 100%, because one, you can't retrieve the Soul Stone unless you give up something you love anyway. So therefore, you have to love.
The context of the movie, he loved her.
By the rules of the movie, he absolutely loved her. So there's point number one. But
okay, go ahead.
Okay, but I will say, they did a fair job, and not just this movie, but also Guardians #1, talking about Thanos and their relationship with Gamora and Nebula and Thanos and that whole family. We've gotten hints about how he feels about them throughout the...
He made them fight each other to make them stronger.
Correct.
Almost to death.
And if you're someone who loves power, what do you respect in other people? Their power. And clearly, Gamora was someone who he respected and loved. And also, she tried to kill him earlier in the movie, but it was a reality stone fake out. And she was crying.
And he loved her anyway.
But she was crying over his potential corpse right there, and he saw that, and he was like, "You do love me." But again, he acknowledges that you have the power to kill someone you love, because this is the theme through the movie. Do you have the power to kill someone you love? And that's what he respects. You thought you were doing the right thing to kill someone you love. He respects that.
See, I was all on board for Gamora when she's like, "Ha! You don't love anybody. You can't get the Soul Stone."
One question right there. Did you see where that scene was going? Or
yes.
So right away
super easy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I did too, and I knew right away as soon as that he was there to as soon as they were there, and he's like, "You have to sacrifice something you love." Instantly I knew it was he loved Gamora.
100%.
So then my question is, how do you not buy that he loved Gamora?
Well, within the context of this movie, this is the only movie you saw, then yes, they did build a case for Thanos loving Gamora.
No, I'm saying it's not the only movie. In Guardians of the Galaxy, they also did that.
But I don't buy that though. See, I don't buy with all the with everything I've seen of Thanos and the way he treated the sisters and how the sisters talked about Thanos and he was a monster and blah blah blah.
That doesn't mean that he doesn't care about her. He made us fight
each other. Well, I know, but even still, I don't know. I did not get the feeling that Thanos actually truly deeply loved Gamora.
I absolutely
until this movie. So maybe within the context of the movie, I kind of understand. I kind of see it. But outside of this movie, I feel like that's something that they had to play up inside the movie beforehand in order for it to make sense. Because if they didn't show the scene where Gamora's a little kid and he protected her, but she shielded her eyes from everybody killing each other. If they didn't show that scene, if they didn't show those scenes, and then you jump into the world where Thanos needs to kill Gamora, the one person he loves, it doesn't make sense. Like, to me, without the added backstory in this movie, it's a far reach. That's what I'm saying.
Nope.
Really?
You're wrong.
Okay.
You're absolutely wrong. I completely bought that he cared about Gamora. It was the one thing in the world that he cared about. And it was the one thing that he had to, like I said, everyone in this movie had to make a choice about someone they love. Mm-hmm. And this was his turn. Okay. Gamora made the choice earlier. Peter Quill made that choice. Scarlet Witch will make will make that choice later.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange makes that choice later in the movie. And because let's not forget, Doctor Strange did say on that spaceship going to wherever it was, I think they were going to Titan, the remains of Titan.
Yeah.
He did say, like, if it comes between you, I just want to make this clear. If it comes between you and the Time Stone, I'm choosing the Time Stone. I will let you die. I will let you die, and I will save the Time Stone.
Yeah.
So he made that choice very, very clear, and now he backtracks on that, but maybe for a reason. But absolutely by Gamora. I want to say most of the love that I felt that Thanos had for Gamora was probably in Josh Brolin's performance as Thanos. That his soft voice when talking about her, obviously they're not real tears, but like the tears that he had, and when Red Skull said that the tears are not for you, like it was telegraphed pretty hard. Some people didn't realize that was happening at all. Some people thought that this was the ultimate got you because Thanos doesn't love anything, therefore he can never acquire the Soul Stone.
Yeah.
And I right away
cinematically, like, you have to figure right away immediately. The one other person he's with who is his daughter, she's dead. I
think there's too much evidence that he did care for Gamora. Especially if you just want to point to this movie, maybe at that time you didn't believe it, but when he went to the Soul Stone after killing everyone at the very end and saw little kid Gamora. Yeah. I mean, how is that not evidence of that he loved her? And he says, what did it cost for you finally to get? And he said, everything, with tears in his eyes, looking at Gamora.
That was a good scene.
So if at this point in the movie you didn't buy that he loved Gamora, that was clearly part of it too. And even when when they had him chained up on Titan trying to get the gauntlet off of him, you felt his pain because you heard what, like, Peter Quill was talking to him and when all that was going on. So, all right.
Well, okay, but one last point on that.
Shoot.
This is my
before we move on.
Okay, before my last. This is maybe I could probably wait until this later, but this is one of my biggest griefs of the movie.
Gripes.
All these soul stones, right? Or all these infinity stones. They're amazingly powerful, right? If anybody, like, there have been other movies like the Tesseract, the Time Stone. All these stones by themselves are amazingly powerful, and they're something to be reckoned with, and they're the focal point of a lot of different movies leading up to this movie. And those stones were diverse within people. So this was the only stone that he had to just pull from essentially out of the ground in order to get, right? When he got those other stones, I feel like that there was as big an effort to get that soul stone than there was with anybody else. And what I mean by that is he just basically, once he found the stone, he basically just walked up and grabbed it. And, like, these were supposed to be the most powerful things in the world that were going to make you amazing. And he just walked up and grabbed them. What resistance did he run into in order to get any of the stones? He plucked them out. He just plucked them.
I will say the stones were also centerpieces in other movies where other people had to go through a lot to make sure these stones worked and they got the stones correctly. Yeah. Like back when the Reality Stone was the Aether in Thor: The Dark World. Mm-hmm. I mean, there were sacrifices made. There were things that had to be done in order for the stone to become what it is. Yeah. So now that it is what it is, all he has to do is locate them. All he has to do is locate them. And he did, in order to get the final stone, which we haven't seen in any of the movies so far, the Soul Stone, he had to sacrifice something that he loved. He didn't have to make a sacrifice.
I'm just saying.
It shows the resolve of his character, and there is actually something to be admired by someone who is willing to do anything to do what they believe in. Granted, he is completely misguided.
I'm just saying those Infinity Stones were the most powerful things in and of themselves, and he met almost little to no resistance in getting all of them. He got all of them. He got all of them, no problem.
He had to get one by turning time backwards, which is
okay. With the exception of that,
he had to
kill
Gamora.
And even still, all he did was pluck it out of Vision's head.
Right.
You know, like again, Age
he
of
had
Ultron,
to go through all the Avengers to do it.
Age of Ultron. That Infinity Stone was the most powerful thing ever, and Vision couldn't do anything about it. He just grabbed it.
Well, he did. It was one Infinity Stone versus 5 by the end of it.
Even still, I feel like there should have been more resistance to giving up these Infinity Stones because he found them. The hardest part for him was finding them, but once he found them, he met no resistance to getting them. So that was kind of one of my issues against them. Like these scenes were supposed to be amazing, and they didn't show up to fight, but he did. Anyway, moving on. We'll move on to the next one. Does that irk you?
No. It's.
Do you agree with that though? Like they didn't. No, everyone had it. These weren't just out of the ground that he wasn't just picking up rocks, you know? He was taking it from Avengers. He was taking it from people, and there was no resistance. I'm
a little selfish, and I know this doesn't probably sit well with studios and everything, but I would have liked this Infinity War saga to have been a trilogy.
Yeah, for sure. I would have too.
And you could have spaced out him getting the stones in a more...
And made it more impactful, more of a fight. Because I feel like at some point it was just him collecting Horcruxes.
Okay, I will admit, it does kind of feel a little bit like this last Game of Thrones season. I know you don't watch Game of Thrones, but for anyone who knows what I'm talking about, there's so much that has to happen compacted into 6 episodes, which is 4 episodes less, that things are like just feel like they're moving too fast in the way they used to. Like it used to take months to travel from one place to another. That they're getting there in episodes now, even within the same episode now. So yeah, maybe acquiring the Infinite Stones because it's over the space of 2 movies, or because you had to get to the end game of this movie, which really could have been the end game of the second movie in a trilogy.
Exactly.
And then you felt like there's more time to breathe and more time for character development.
And you would have given more. Sure. You would have given more time and
theoretically, yes. Theoretically, yes. That does not mean it would have worked. But theoretically, yes.
Okay.
Anyway, we'll move on. I know we're running here. We got 36 minutes so far.
Yep.
The
planet.
Which planet?
Titan. Was that where you were going to...
Oh, yeah. Okay, so that's the next big thing that happens.
That was a huge thing.
So...
Peter Quill, man.
Okay. Oh, we're going to go straight to that? All right, let's go straight to that. One of the best looking cinematic fights between
it was a great
gods
fight.
ever.
It was a great fight.
It was probably the most visually noisy thing of the entire movie, but like it was such spectacle. I mean, breaking a planet in half, the moon. And the way he did it, where he crunched the moon and then the surface broke and then it started flinging
Honestly, I thought at one point I thought it was going to be like Majora's Mask, and then the moon was just going to come and run with a face on it.
Well, so I think a lot of people thought he was going to just bring the entire moon.
That's what I thought. He was just going to nuke everything.
But it was his home world. I don't think he wants to destroy it even more.
But he broke apart. I'm like, that's just as good, breaking off rocks and just actually having angled attacks. But yeah, I mean that entire scene itself, it was done really well. Cool. Shot really well.
So cool.
The fights were really good between them. I feel like everyone, he got punches in. They got shots on him that they would have gotten otherwise. I don't feel like there was too much in that scene that couldn't have taken place should this have really happened.
Right.
Them trying to keep his hand from closing in order to use the gauntlet.
They use Iron Man tech. They use the spider webs. They use which
is kind of an odd
Mantis
thing.
Put in the sleep thing.
Which is kind of an odd thing if you think about it. You have Infinity Stones. They're kind of connected to you, but in order to use them, you have to close your hand.
That's true.
And then that's kind of, I don't know. To me, that's kind of hokey.
Blame Peter Dinklage and the design of the
Infinity
Gauntlet.
Yeah.
Which we'll get to that later too. But that scene on Titan was probably one of my favorite scenes. And I mean, even before Thanos got there, let's go into this. Doctor Strange uses the Time Stone.
Yes, he does.
To check out 14.5 million different outcomes of what could happen.
It's a lot of different outcomes.
Where the Avengers only win one of those outcomes.
And we don't know to what extent they win.
Right. I mean, it could be huge sacrifices in order to
stop
Thanos.
It could be Thanos is dead, but so is everybody else, and that he considers that a victory. Like we don't know what's in it.
It's very vague what a victory is considered right now, because I mean, if all the outcomes turned out that half the universe dies, but only one outcome is they can restore 25% of it, but that which causes the sacrifice of somebody else. We don't know.
See, and this can open itself up into almost a DC universe type of thing. When he's checking out all these different possible scenarios, are these different dimensions he's glimpsing into? Like
they're different
actualities that he's glimpsing into.
I'm sure they're alternate universes. Yeah.
And if that is the case,
multiverse.
Can't they potentially pluck heroes from other universes?
How would you feel about if everyone who died, but they're somehow bringing back an alternate universe version of them? Because it's not really them, so they really did die.
I don't know if that's balanced, though, because if you pluck people out of other universes, then it leaves them to this. I don't know if that's a moral thing. I don't know if that's a superhero moral thing to do.
I like to think of it as like there's different timelines, and he had control over different things happening in those timelines with the power of
the time stone.
No, I was thinking of what his power is. Like, who is he? He's the master, whatever.
Yeah, sorcerer.
Sorcerer Supreme. I could not think of Sorcerer Supreme. With the Sorcerer Supreme powers.
Taco Supreme.
But he was influencing all the different timelines with there and seeing all the different outcomes of the things I could have done.
Yeah.
Me giving up the Infinity Stone, me killing Thanos, me using the Time Stone, me, Tony dying, Tony not dying, Captain America dying, Captain America not dying. Like, there's only one outcome of the 14.5 million or whatever he said outcomes where they win, which is, I'm guessing, to the point where not everyone dies. That's what.
Was that what he was referring to? I mean, that could have been what he's referring to. Maybe there was one scenario where not everybody dies, or at the end of it, everybody is alive.
Right.
And perhaps he considers a death of Black Panther or a death of Bucky a loss. So he counts out that timeline.
So now the question is, why does he give Thanos the time stone?
I mean, the obvious answer is in the timeline that he saw that he won, that's what he needed to do.
Right.
I mean, that's the obvious answer.
But why?
The reason being so that Thanos can deliver it to whoever he needs to deliver it to, whatever place he needs to deliver it to, so that Captain Marvel or so that somebody else can get it and use it to bring everybody back.
My guess is that the only version where they win is a version where Tony Stark's alive. So he was about to die. He had stabbed Tony Stark, which, by the way, totally thought Tony was dead there.
Yeah, 100%.
Iron Man, I thought, was dead right there.
And going into this movie, I was thinking one of the Fab Five is going to die. Type of thing.
They knew that. They totally knew that we thought Iron Man or Captain America was dying, and they totally played us. The Russo brothers totally played us. But I'm guessing that Iron Man needs to be alive. He was about to die. Thanos was about to kill him, and he said, "Nope." I don't think giving him the time stone was like the
necessary part.
Like, you didn't have to necessarily give him the time stone. So maybe he didn't
have to have the time stone, but Tony had to be alive.
He had to be alive.
Okay.
And perhaps using the time stone, like he saw a bunch of different outcomes of him like trying to use the time stone to turn back time and do things, but that all had disastrous consequences as well. So let's get to the part that you had a huge gripe with. That would be Peter Quill flipping out over Gamora's death and basically ruining the plan when they almost had the Infinity Gauntlet off.
You killed half of the universe because you couldn't control your temper for 5 more seconds. I mean, come on, bro. Like, literally, half of everyone is going to be extinct because just wait until the stone's off. Wait until the gauntlet's off, and then you can pounce him.
I will agree
then you can try. But then again, I remind you, Peter Quill, he destroyed the Hulk. So punching him with your fist in the face, probably not going to do so much.
So what I think, and I was alluding to this earlier tonight to you, I think there could have been a really cool moment there. So here's how I would have redone the scene.
Okay.
Because I still think Peter Quill flipping out over Gamora's death is a regular human reaction, and we saw that his dad is eccentric too. So maybe there's something in his genealogy that makes him eccentric.
Makes him super emotional.
Yeah, whatever. Okay. But I think this is a better way to do it. What happens. Peter Quill flips out. Thanos breaks free, keeps the gauntlet, is about to kill Tony Stark, and what's his face? Doctor Strange uses the time stone to stop that. To stop that. And he goes back in time, and as soon as he sees Peter Quill about to freak out, he grabs him. He's like, dude, or he sends the cape over there to grab him so he doesn't do that. But as an example of you can go back in time, but if you change the outcomes of things, certain things happen. The meteors coming down, one of them hits Mantis because Peter Quill wasn't there to knock Mantis off of Thanos. The meteor comes down, hits Mantis, kills Mantis right there. Thanos breaks free anyway and grabs the gauntlet and is able to stop. And while Doctor Strange is busy trying to coax whatever, he's able to stab Tony Stark, and then he offers him the time stone. Says, "Look, I'm not going to use it or anything. Here's the time stone." And that way it does one of two things. One, it shows you that Peter Quill's actions is not bad. It's not bad writing. Right, it's his emotions, and even if you go back in time to try and retcon it, something worse happened. It tells you that you can't mess with the timeline. And two, it shows that Doctor Strange did try to use the power of an Infinity Stone to stop Thanos, because that was one of the questions. Why aren't we using these Infinity Stones to try and stop him, and why wasn't he using Time Stone? I think that demonstrates like using time could have more disastrous consequences than.
And that's why he would give up the time stone.
Sorry, that was long-winded, I know, but that was my idea of a better scene.
That's actually an amazing scene. And that would have been my favorite scene in the movie. Yeah, and you called it, like, maybe he does it 2 or 3 times. He's like, oh fuck, Mantis.
Yeah.
And then something else happens. Like Spider-Man's grip, loses grip, and
he gets hit with it.
Free,
yeah.
and,
he get hit with the comic, and because he's the Sorcerer Supreme, he doesn't die or anything, but he's incapacitated, which allows him to get the time stone.
Yeah.
And no matter what outcome you do in that specific moment,
he
goes away with the time stone, and it shows you that you cannot change the course of destiny in this movie.
Fate is fate.
Exactly. Because he saw, like, I saw a bajillion outcomes. There's only one where we win, but all of these other ones, he gets all the Infinity Stones and kills half the universe, and that was just another example of a timeline.
That would have added gravitas to what he was saying in the 14 million. Because when I heard him say there's 14,600,000 outcomes, I'm like, and there's only one in which we win. I'm like, dude, there's a 1 in 14 million chance. Okay, I statistics wise, there has to be more than just a 1 in 14.5 million chance. Like,
right.
that doesn't make, I don't know, it just doesn't make sense to me that there's only one way that they could possibly win this whole thing. So, but if they would have explained it as, if you go back in time and you alter things or you change things or you do things differently, but the same outcomes comes out or different, then I would have been like, okay.
Yeah.
I'd make that kind of makes sense.
And it would have played into his 14 million outcomes. Like, there's a 1 in 14 million chance that you're going to do things the correct way.
So then that's giving you the thought that, okay, the 1 in 14 million, what he's actually referring to is nobody dies.
Right.
And Thanos dies.
Right.
So then that would have given you gravitas. So that's what he was going for. That's why he said 1 in 14.5 million, because he's going for nobody dying.
Right. And I know one of the complaints was, why are they not using the Infinity Stones to try and stop Thanos? Yeah. And especially the Time Stone, which could just be OP. Like, let's face it, like, turning back time every 20 seconds, you make a mistake.
You know what? I'm friends with the Russo brothers. I'm gonna give them a call. I'm gonna get you in on the next movie.
I just there's certain things you see like that, and I guarantee you, no matter what. How much you like the movie or how much you dislike the movie, this is mostly for people who love the movie. You saw that scene where Peter Quill lost his temper and you ruined the thing, and you're like,
you liked Peter Quill less because.
Well, no, it's not that, but it's like you're just like, that's like. Come on, nobody in
that's lazy writing.
And it's lazy writing. Like nobody would act like that. He would hold his temper right there because he knows that there's a bigger, especially Peter Quill.
The scene before that, he killed Gamora himself. Right. So obviously he has some type of self-discipline.
He has exactly.
But,
he has control over his emotions.
Thanos, if you kill her, I'd lose it completely. Yeah. But if I kill her, I can.
And to be fair, I bought the entire emotion, and I bought that might be his reaction. But then I also would have liked to see it supplemented with. Doctor Strange going back in time, stopping him, but then a worse outcome happens.
At the very least, supplemented with having Thanos try to egg him on to punch him in the face. Thanos said nothing. It was just Peter Quill's over rage that did it. Like, if Thanos was like, I killed her. I threw her off of a ledge in order to get the stone.
Right.
She meant nothing to me. Like, he was trying to egg him on a little bit. Like, okay, maybe then that would have been a little bit more justification type of thing. But, like, dude, the way they had it just kind of seemed like, man, you just wanted to make the movie
everyone in the theaters, saw that coming,
yeah.
and when everyone sees that coming, you're like, maybe that's.
There was a lot of surprises in this movie. That was not one of them.
Yeah, I agree. I get, but that doesn't ruin the scene for me. That doesn't ruin anything for me. I thought it was fine.
It ruins the scene a little bit for me.
I don't think it ruined the scene. I thought it was fine. I would have liked to have seen it done with the time stone thing, and like that idea that I had.
That would have been really cool. That would have been really cool.
I think so. I think I should direct the next movie, or at least you should show me the cut that you have before the reshoots, and then I'll tell you why you should reshoot, like what scenes you should reshoot. But I thought that that would have been a fantastic way to introduce the Avengers trying to use the Infinity Stones, but like, no, we don't understand this power. We can't do it.
And then it would have made more sense.
Right. Exactly.
Okay. What's the next scene?
That's a great question. I'm so into that scene. I guess we could jump straight to the Wakanda fight.
That's what I was thinking next.
So Thanos gets that stone, and at this point he has reality, time, space, soul. Right? Yeah, soul. And what's the other one I'm missing?
Reality, time, power.
Power stone. So he has, which also happened off screen.
Yeah.
Xandor.
Which I'm thinking that, the next Guardians of the Galaxy movie is coming out. I'm thinking that the next Guardians of the Galaxy movie is going to cover how he got the power.
I thought that could be a thing too, except for this. The next movie in this series is Ant-Man versus the Wasp.
Okay.
Which Ant-Man was...
I don't think there's going to be any
conveniently, it's supposed to take place before and also during
Ant-Man was there. Ant-Man was there.
No, he wasn't.
I saw him the whole time.
Yeah. You're funny.
He was just tiny.
It's Ant-Man versus the Wasp.
Uh-huh.
And then it's Captain Marvel. And then just like Black Panther is still in theaters right now, while Captain Marvel is still in theaters, Infinity Wars Part 2, or whatever they're going to call it, because they're staying away from the Part 1, Part 2 thing.
Yeah.
They're probably going to call it like Infinity Wars Gauntlet or Avengers Reassemble or something. I don't know. Something like that. So we only get Ant-Man versus the Wasp over the summer, Captain Marvel at the beginning of next year, and then Avengers, the conclusion of the Infinity Wars.
And then Guardians is after that?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Guardians, which, my guess...
So that would be really lame if a year and a half later, 2 years later, they show how he got the Power Stone. Because, like, dude, we're well
my guess is Guardians 3 is going to be how do we bring Gamora back? And the whole thing is about trying to bring Gamora back.
Okay.
And I would be down with that. I would be down with them
maybe at the end of the second Avengers Part 2, they get one of the stones, Time Stone or Soul Stone,
right?
And maybe they get the Soul Stone and they have to go into the Soul World to find Gamora and then bring her back.
Well, there is some practicalness you have to think because Zoe Saldana, whatever her name is, who plays Gamora, she's shooting the 3 Avatar movies over the next year or whatever.
So they needed to kill her off.
It's not that they needed to kill her off, but it'd be hard to have her shoot for more scenes for Gamora in Guardians of the Galaxy 3 unless it's a very minor role. Yeah. And the whole thing is just about her. They're trying to bring her, which I think it should be them trying to bring her back to life through some means of something. Yeah. But whatever, Wakanda.
So the Wakanda part of the movie had a couple really funny lines in it too, just to throw that out there. Again, there were hilarious one-liners throughout the entire thing.
Your favorite one?
One of my favorite one, period, might have been, unless other ones come to mind, when when Bruce Banner's coming off the ship and he's asking War Machine, do we bow? Yeah, dude, he's a king. And then he comes out and he starts bowing. He's like, dude, what are you doing? Well, we don't do that here.
Well, that was toward the beginning of the movie.
That might have been good, but it was still Wakanda. Like that was hilarious. And then the other really, really funny one, and real one was when Scarlet Witch lifts up the 3 things, throws them away. And she's like, why has she been up there the whole time?
Denai said that. That was hilarious.
Yeah,
that was really
I'm thinking the same thing. Like while all that fight's happening and she's just up there protecting Vision, I'm thinking the same thing. I'm like, dude, get down there. You could destroy all these people. What are you doing?
My favorite one from that entire last third act fight was I am Groot. I am Steve Rogers. Like when they were talking.
Oh yeah, that was pretty funny.
I thought that was hilarious.
That was really funny.
That was probably my favorite one-liner from that. But okay, so we get our obligatory CG horde.
Yeah.
At the very end of the movie, like in all Avengers movies, you fight the obligatory CG hordes. What did you think of the last battle scene?
I thought it was pretty good. Again, I'm going to be a little bit of a cynic with some little bit of strategy there. So if I were, in the Black Panther universe and I was in Wakanda and I was in charge of...
He was smart to open the shield up, by the way.
He was smart to open the shield. That was a smart thing to do.
T'Challa.
What I would have done after that is I would have, let like 20% in and then I would have cut it off. Kill the 20%. Let them feed through. Just like 300 style. Let them just keep filtering through. Give them a little bit smaller of a thing. Have them come in maybe one by one, and then cut it off.
I think one of the coolest scenes though was when they started charging at the, I don't know what they're called, the beasts.
Dogs, the space dogs is
space dogs.
what he referred to them as.
When they were charging at the space dogs.
Yeah.
And everyone's running, and then Black Panther and Captain America break away from the packs because they're superpowered, and they're just speeding toward them like faster than everybody else.
Black Panther jumping into them was super cool.
That was just such a cool moment.
Yeah. Leading the charge, that was super cool. Him just going around and Black, everyone's like, one-on-one having difficulties, and Black Panther and Steve Rogers just boom, 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 turn around, boom, boom, boom. It was amazing. That was an awesome scene.
It was so good. That was such a good fight scene.
Yeah. And I definitely wouldn't have let, if I was in charge of the portal, I definitely would not have let the head people inside. I would have let the dogs inside, close it, kill them off. Let the dogs inside, close it, kill them off.
Right.
Type of thing.
Well, so there was only of the children of Thanos, there was really only one that I really actually liked and thought was a good character, and that was the one who died.
The one who got shot into space.
Yes.
Yeah. That means
hit Maul. Something Maul. I forget what his name is.
Darth Maul?
No, it's like Ebony Maul or something like that. His name.
That sounds familiar. Ebony Maul.
It's something
maybe.
Like that.
Yeah.
It's something
that's
like
that.
that.
Darth Maul.
Again, I didn't read the comics or anything, and I didn't want to read them beforehand either because I wanted to not know what was going on. Yeah. I knew Thanos had one in the comic books, but I didn't know if that's what they were going to do in this thing.
I also thought it was really cool when they were pushing their way through the barrier and they were cutting themselves in half, and you're like, dude, this is an army to be reckoned with.
The child of Thanos was like, we have numbers, and I'm like, yeah damn, you do got numbers, but you're definitely not afraid to use them.
Yeah.
To get to that shield.
And then finally Thor comes in and just
levels
everything.
We completely skipped over that.
Oh yeah, he just goes and kills like 1 billion of the dogs at 1 second.
Before we get to that.
Oh yeah.
Okay, also I love the Scarlet Witch, and I love the girl fight at the very end with Scarlet Witch and
I thought that was a little too isolated because I feel like that was a little forced because it was two OP people fighting at each other, which is great, but I would have liked to see Scarlet Witch do some more damage against the army first.
Yeah.
Because she kind of did a couple things, lifted it and then threw it away.
Yeah,
and then she got into a solo fight. I'm like, dude, you could help out a little bit more before you start taking on the head.
Well, but can she? She's more of a one-on-one. She's a spy. She doesn't have superpowers. She doesn't have anything. She has good fighting skills.
Oh, you said Scarlet Witch. Did you mean Black Widow?
I definitely meant Black Widow.
Oh, okay. Well then, yeah, the Black Widow. Yeah, that was super good. Yeah, I love that, man. That was a great fight.
That was her. Okay, yeah. That fight.
A great fight.
Yes, the Scarlet.
I thought you were talking about the Scarlet Witch one.
Because her name is Scarlett Johansson, man. Sometimes in my head it's just.
I've had that too. But yeah, the Black Widow fight. That was awesome. That was an awesome fight. And Black Widow was badass in this movie. Black Widow, so I love
better than I think in a lot of movies. Maybe other than.
And I was watching Avengers again too. And the thing I love about Black Widow is they do her character so right. She's a spy. She's a technical person. She's really good at her fighting abilities. She doesn't punch people and knock them back 50 feet like Captain America does. She does the technical route and she goes around. She's just an amazing fighter, and they do a really good job with that. And I really liked her fighting one of the main people because she was at the beginning of the movie when Steve Rogers and Black Panther or Black Widow and who was the third one? Was it Bucky that came out? No, it wasn't Bucky. Who was the third one at the beginning of the movie where they were saving Scarlet Witch and Vision? There was a third one there. I can't remember.
It was Anthony Mackie. It was Falcon.
Falcon.
Okay, we go.
Yeah, it was Falcon. But Black Widow was amazing in that scene too, and just her fighting abilities and the way they do her is really really well done. And in this movie too, and at the end of the movie where she had the big fight scene with the head honchos,
good.
Super good because you're just thinking she's just a regular person, she can't do it, but she's amazingly talented at what she does, and so I think it pulled well.
Yeah. So then going back to Scarlet Witch, I understand why she was upstairs. If she has to destroy the stone.
It's a stone. Yeah, so you have to do that. Oh, and that was another thing, though, too. If you did notice, there's a possibility that Vision's still alive or can come back. So the thing is that
for a robot, that sure looked like a corpse to me. He had a very
but think about it. He was a robot, so she could have extracted his being.
The neural. Yeah.
She could have extracted his being, and then she can implant it in someone else that looks like him, and then there you go.
Or just take the body and reconnect the neural. He's like, why? She did say why.
Why was he all black though?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. Because it was the Soul Stone that was powering him, maybe? So
he was in black before the Soul Stone was in him.
It was very corpsey looking.
It was very corporeal. Yeah, it was dead. He was like a corpse. So, I don't know. Maybe they just did that for a cinematic effect. Obviously, they did. I don't necessarily know that would be what would happen to an android.
The other choice that was made in this movie that Scarlet Witch refused to make it to the very end was to kill Vision. And
I believe that 100%. That was a heavy scene.
Yeah, it was. It was just as impactful as Thanos and Gamora.
Yeah, I think so too. And
I thought you didn't like Thanos and Gamora. I thought you didn't believe that.
Thanos and I thought.
Are you even like thinking?
No, I thought you were talking about Star-Lord and Gamora.
No,
that's what
no.
I thought. I thought when he shot the bubbles. I thought that's what you're talking about.
Well, yeah, it's just as impactful.
Thanos and Gamora, get the hell out of here with that. But yeah, no. At the end with Vision and Scarlet Witch, that was a really impactful scene because I really did feel that they kind of had something for each other. I thought it was a little forced at the beginning, just because in Civil War, we did see a little bit of romance in there, but then it started off full-fledged in this movie. But at the end of this one, I kind of did feel like they, obviously had something for each other.
No,
so
dude,
it was
I
obviously really
thought
hard
they loved
for
each
her.
other.
It was obviously really hard for her to do that.
It was heartbreaking when she was stopping. I mean, she's pretty OP too. She was stopping
Thanos from coming while she was disarming the Soul Stone.
And she did it.
Yeah.
And again, another telegraphed moment. That
honestly, it might have been telegraphed to you. I had no idea.
Really?
I'm like, dude, Thanos is fucked.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, Thanos is screwed right now. Like, what is he going to do? The Soul Stone. Okay, another reason why I probably didn't think this in my mind's eye is that, to me, a Soul Stone, they've been around forever. The Infinity Stones since the beginning of the universe. Once one of them breaks and dies, it's done. It's done.
It transcends space and time.
It transcends space and time because, hey, guess what? Space, reality, and time are stones. So, it's separate. So, it's outside of that, So I thought once one was done, it was done. So you can't just undo it.
As soon as he got the time stone, I knew just in my head, and I hate overthinking things sometimes, but I knew that we were going to get a demonstration of him using time.
Yeah.
And once I saw the Soul Stone be destroyed, I totally knew that he was going to go there.
Well,
reverse time.
If you're really thinking about him having the time stone, then once he acquires that time stone, he automatically wins because he can just undo anything that would falter him.
Well, that's why you think that Doctor Strange would have used it.
Yeah,
earlier.
I do. Which is why your scene would have been really cool.
Would have corrected it, right?
Yeah.
Because you're like, maybe you shouldn't use it because bad things happen.
But yeah, I thought for me, for whatever reason, I did not see that he was going to reverse the time.
It's just that we had a demonstration of each of what the things can do every time he got a stone.
Yeah. He
got the Tesseract Stone, the Space Stone, and he teleported off the ship. He used the Power Stone to destroy the rest of the Asgardian ship as he left. He got the Reality Stone, and we saw him bend reality. There was a demonstration of everything except the Space Stone, or the Time Stone. Yeah. And once he got that, I was just thinking, okay, he's going to use that for something. What's he going to use it for? And I remember as soon as they said that she can destroy it, I thought at some point he's going to reverse the destruction of the stone. And he's going to be able to get it back. And it kind of sucks too because poor Vision gets obliterated at first with energy, gets reanimated, and then killed again. Got it plucked from his head, which could be his undoing. Because I just thought of this. What if part of the whole sequence is Vision needs to be alive too? And when the part of the one of the outcomes where they win is Vision has to be alive, and when Scarlet Witch destroyed the Time Stone, it destroyed Vision, just obliterated him. The Soul Stone.
Yeah.
But he knew that giving the Time Stone to Thanos meant that he would reverse time and keep Vision's body intact.
Doctor Strange, man, playing 4D chess.
I'm saying he might be the chess master. He is Sherlock Holmes after all.
I mean, that's true.
So he might be seeing a million steps ahead. Well, actually, 14 million steps ahead. But
14.5 million steps ahead.
But he plucked a stone and kept the body intact.
Yeah.
So what if it's that's going to be part of his undoing is the fact that he reversed time and kept Vision's body alive, took the stone, and then so let's just go real quick, and we're running long here.
Yeah.
But Thor wielding the axe, creating the axe. First of all, Peter Dinklage shows up as a dwarf.
Cloud killer. Oh god, storm killer. Storm killer?
Stonebreaker.
No, Stormbreaker.
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 We're Marvel fans.
But yeah, go ahead.
he takes the full brunt of a dying star. Which, by the way, first of all, every time Thor called him Rabbit or Bunny or whatever, I died. I thought that was so funny. Like, what's his name? I can't even think of his name now.
Rocket.
Rocket. Every time he called Rocket Rabbit or whatever, if those two had a buddy picture, like their own film together, I would totally watch it.
Again, we're talking about character inconsistencies. Anytime in the previous Guardians of the Galaxy movies, anybody called him anything other than a raccoon, he lost his mind and wanted to fight and kill. But when Thor does it, it's okay.
So why is it an inconsistency instead of character growth?
It's not character growth.
He had 2 movies where he started seeing people as friends, and Peter Quill started calling him names in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and they're like, we're friends, we're family, blah, blah, blah. Not to mention Drax, whenever there's like, that's not a boy, that's a man. He's not.
But he just met Thor.
Yeah,
they're not friends.
And they realize he's a god.
They didn't realize that. They didn't know that when he was on the ship.
He said Asgard. He said he's Asgardian in the very beginning.
Did he know? Did they know what that meant?
Yeah.
Did they?
I mean, they're retconned in now. I
mean, I guess so. But yeah. So the Stormbreaker coming down. Okay, to me that was again a little hokey. Thanos, blasting people away, just destroying everybody, stopping Scarlet Witch's attacks, stopping Vision's attacks.
Well, right, but this was the one weapon that was made by the same person who made the gauntlet that was made to destroy the gauntlet. Like, it was specifically crafted as that weapon to stop it.
I mean, okay, maybe you have a point there.
Yeah.
Maybe you have a point there. My thing was, as the axe was coming, really Thor could have just, or Thanos could have just.
But you got to go for the head.
Or face shit out of it. I know. Okay, why is Thor? Okay, why is Thor going for the body? Period. Why wouldn't you go for the head?
To get a good last comment in before he dies.
And 2, why wouldn't you just at some point you just need to take grossness out of it and just cut the guy's fucking arm off. Just cut his arm off. When Spider-Man was holding out his hand, Iron Man was there, Doctor Strange was there. Cut his goddamn arm off.
Oh, that's true.
You don't need to rip off the gauntlet. Cut his arm off.
You could have done the whole thing and make a little wormhole over it and then put his arm in there.
Yeah. Oh, exactly, right? Exactly.
Yeah. We actually saw it happen a couple times to people with the shield technology and the transporter.
And he could have just thrown a shield over, cut his arm off, bing, bang, boom, end of movie. Thor, throw the axe at his arm. Just stop him from using this thing.
I thought that was it. I thought that was it.
Killed him?
They beat Thanos.
Yeah.
Like, holy crap, they did it. They beat Thanos. He got all Infinity Stones just for a second. He was enough to finish his mission, and then he was killed by Thor. And I'm like, wow, what an epic way to end this thing. And then snap happens. And all of a sudden,
fade to dust.
He retreats back with the Space Stone, which, by the way, the gauntlet looked pretty messed up.
Yeah, it did. It was done. It was the gauntlet was done. I don't know if it's Infinity. So did you see the Infinity Stones in the gauntlet afterwards?
Yes,
you did.
Yes.
Okay, so they were there.
We've only seen it once, but yes.
Yeah.
But let's not forget he did retreat back using the Space Stone to go back to the world where he could overlook the lake or whatever.
Yeah.
What a serene moment, by the way. Like if he was your hero, you're like, oh, that's the hero's pose. That's the hero's. He did it.
He saved the heroes. Okay, this is I think my last quarrel, big quarrel with the movie. Okay, so Thanos' MO, destroy half of the universe so that the other half can live freely and have an abundance of resources, right? Well, on planet Earth, we know that wouldn't necessarily happen because we have people that allocate those resources. So if half the people on Earth died, it's not like the people with now double the amount of corn would
there's
be
less
giving
pollution,
them,
there's more food. I mean, it is true. There's
economics that goes along with this thing, and I imagine every single world has.
Oh, by the way, you can't
there's people that have the food, the resources, and there's people that don't have the resources.
You can't just make half the world's people disappear without other people dying as a result of that. Planes, helicopters,
planes go away. A lot more people than just half would die in that scenario.
Maybe
also, my other thing. Hey, you know how you turn Thanos from a super villain into a superhero? Instead of cutting off half of the universe's population, how about you double the amount of resources and then everybody's happy, right? So
you're only happy for a time until those resources.
Okay, well, when you half the population, you're only happy for a time until you have to half them again. So
that's true.
I'm just saying, dude, you could have doubled, tripled, quadrupled the resources instead of.
It's very possible if you brought him to like a debate class, you may have actually been able to change his mind for the good.
He again, he's the hero of his own story. He's not evil to be evil, fellas. So I think you probably could have changed his mind. I think obviously he had some.
But I will say he did live through saying all the time, like, look, this is what we need to do on my planet, or we're going to end up, whatever.
Said that, and then
it came to pass. So now in his mind, it's implanted as a fundamental belief that's what he's going to have to go with.
One little, like, if we had an Inception moment, we can go into his dreams and say, hey, double shit instead of half shit.
That's true. But when everyone started dying, we alluded to it at the beginning an hour ago. We alluded to it. Bucky disappears. Everyone just starts dying. It's emotional.
Who surprised you the most? Who surprised you the most when they died? Okay, one, did you see everybody dying happening when he snapped his finger? What did you think?
I understood after the person who went away after Bucky.
Yeah.
I didn't catch on right away because I'm not a comic reader. I didn't catch on right away that's what was happening. But then he started like I understood that Thanos did something. Yeah. Like I understood that but then I didn't, like, the snap wasn't clear on screen.
Yeah, I didn't see a snap. I
have to rewatch it because everything happened so fast.
Something.
So and human memory is terrible. This is why witness statements get thrown out all the time in court.
Yeah.
But the snap, and then the music went quiet, and people just started fading away. Yeah. And not Bucky, but the person afterwards. I want to say it was Black Panther who was the next one. Or possibly it was just other people on the battlefield.
Yeah.
Once other people on the battlefield started dissolving and some of them were staying, I'm like, holy crap!
Yeah.
Half the freaking people in the universe are being destroyed right now.
Yeah.
Like they're being dissolved and never existed, or being trapped in the soul world or whatever. But it took me like a second just to be like, no, Thanos won. Wait, no, Thor just stabbed him. Thanos won, and seeing all that like on screen, like my jaw was dropped.
Yeah.
And then I saw Black Panther go, and
to me that was the one that shook me. Seeing Black Panther go, especially so outside of the Infinity Wars universe, Black Panther was a raging success for
but not
Marvel.
When they filmed this. But not when they filmed Infinity Wars.
But he was a raging success for Marvel. There's no way. I'm like, a lot of people can die. Steve Rogers can't die. Well, actually, that's not even true. I thought anyone could die, really, except for Black Panther, because he was so successful, and they're obviously going to make another movie, and they have another movie in the works already.
Spider-Man too,
and they're filming another Spider-Man. So I'm like, but when I saw Black Panther die, I'm like, that's when the reality set it. Like, so Bucky going away was kind of like, holy shit, they're going to kill off the really important fringe characters. And then I saw Black Panther go away, and I'm like, holy shit, they're killing off the real characters.
That's true. But so I had the opposite reaction when I saw Black Panther go. I was like, "Oh, he'll be back." Like none of these deaths are permanent because Black Panther. There's like Black Panther 2 is already in the works. Like it's already ready to it's not ready to go, but clearly they're gonna like that. That has been such a huge franchise for them. Yeah. Just in the 2 months or 3 months it's been in the theaters. But still, like in the moment, I didn't think that. It was only on upon reflecting on it afterwards. I'm like, oh, okay, well, this isn't permadeath mode, Yeah. So, but once it all happened, then after I realized what was happening, then I'm like, who else? Like, we're jumping to scenes here. I'm like, who else is going?
I didn't think Doctor Strange was going to go. Doctor Strange went.
I thought Doctor Strange was going to go. Yeah. I thought Scarlet Witch was going to go because
all the OP power, all the OP people went.
I did not see Drax and Mantis. I did not see Peter Quill. That I thought he was still gonna. I thought Chris Pratt would still be around.
Yeah.
But now
he needs to go do Jurassic World.
Well,
so
right.
He couldn't.
Well, that's done. And it's actually funny because now you're almost thinking of going into the next movie. Actually, if you're dissolved, you have a better chance of coming back and being around at the end of this movie than the people who are still alive, who could be there to sacrifice themselves to make sure you guys all come back. So. Yep. So we're talking about we're going to get the original Avengers cast to start the next movie. Probably Ant-Man, probably a secret end credit scene we'll talk about in a second. But we should get an original Avengers movie, and I don't know how between Thor, Iron Man, Captain America. One of the things I would have liked to have seen is Iron Man and Captain America actually.
Yeah.
But I understand that they're saving it.
I wanted to see Captain America and Iron Man come together and interact and talk and things like that. Especially after the events of Civil War, I wanted them to kind of have some reconciliation. But they're both living, so it's going to happen the next time.
It would be extremely poetic, and the crescendo of this universe.
If they both sacrifice themselves.
If the original Avengers had to sacrifice himself so that the Marvel Universe can continue.
Oh, one illusion that I did that I forgot to mention as well is that basically War Machine and essentially that side of Civil War admitted that Steve Rogers was right. War Machine, I don't know if you recall the scene in the movie.
Oh yeah, in the very beginning.
In the very beginning, War Machine's like, yeah, dude, we were kind of wrong. Essentially,
well,
yeah, we shouldn't have let and then that was emphasized by the fact that War Machine was like turned off the council or whatever.
Right.
Like, yeah, and then it's like I just got a court martial because I did that.
Right.
I'm like, dude, you were one of the biggest advocates for the Wakanda Accord, or not Wakanda Accords, but Sokovia Accords, and yeah, so basically, not only did Steve Rogers win against Iron Man physically, he won against Iron Man mentally as well.
It was an emotionally draining movie.
It was a long, good movie. It didn't feel long, but it was a very eventful movie.
All right, and then we'll jump to the end credit scenes real quick.
Yep.
Mother.
They cut him off beforehand.
It's actually really funny because that part was just ad-libbed by Samuel L. Jackson.
Was it really?
No, I'm sure. It could have been. But they're like, oh, we can't have that. We got to cut him off somewhere.
Robin died. I didn't see Robin.
Did you know right away what the pager thing was about?
No.
I didn't either.
No, I didn't. Until somebody right next to me yelled, Captain Marvel! I'm like, obviously.
That's definitely Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel. I was looking at it. I'm like, man, my eyes must be deceiving me because that looks like Wonder Woman symbol. Yeah. Like, what are they calling crossover for the next movie? No. Avengers?
Captain Marvel. Pretty crazy.
Apparently super duper OP. We don't necessarily know. Apparently pictures aren't out yet. We don't necessarily know exactly what she's going to have in the next movie, but apparently she has the power of flight. She's
Superman.
Cosmic.
She's basically Superman.
She can also fire cosmic rays. She can absorb energy and blast it out.
She's Superman.
She is the same race as
Superman.
No, she's not Superman.
She's Kryptonian.
She's Kryptonian. No, she's the same race as one of the badasses. One of the badasses in the who is the main guy in the Avengers 3 or not Thor 3. It was not the sister,
in Ragnarok?
Actually. No, not Ragnarok. I'm sorry. The one right before that.
The elf one, the Dark World.
Yeah, I think she's one of those. Her bloodline is one of those. She's like one of those people.
I don't know about her bloodline.
She's got blue in her.
Ancestry.com.
But yeah, she's one of the super powerful, which actually would make sense if she is an alien and not just as.
So Captain Marvel takes place during the 1990s.
Yeah,
and Samuel L. Jackson and Maria Hill, like these characters. I'm not sure actually about Maria Hill. I take that back. But Samuel L. Jackson will be a huge character in that movie.
Okay. Cool, because I miss Samuel L. Jackson in this movie.
With two eyes. So we'll see. Right? We'll see how he loses his
Fiction
eye.
status.
Yeah, and I guarantee you, the last either end credit scene or the last scene in that movie is her getting a page from Samuel L. Jackson during this thing.
And it's funny too. Okay, so if this is a pager, right? So it's a pager. So obviously it's old technology. Is there a time element in this movie? Is she getting the page back in time in the 90s?
They're going to have to explain why she didn't get paged during the original New York attack with aliens, she wasn't paged during the Ultron.
Yeah, they're going to have to explain her absence. I mean,
Thor the Dark World was like elves invading and destroying London. Yeah. I mean,
and honestly, so real quick on that, the Thor the Dark World where all the planets align and and their different realities emerge and stuff, I feel like that would have been so much more of a cool storyline than Age of Ultron. I feel like that should have been an Avengers storyline, and Age of Ultron could have been something else. But that's a different talk altogether.
Yeah,
I really like that storyline. I just didn't like that Thor was the only one in it. But anyway, pager back to Captain Marvel.
So the way I would reconcile that, like why wasn't she paged in this, or is that she was paged but couldn't respond to any of those things, and he just tried paging her again during this thing. But people on her own planet or whatever are affected by what's going on, so now she has to be involved.
Not to mention, hey, there is a 50-50 chance that nobody's at the end of that pager.
That's true. I hope Captain Marvel wasn't one of the selected souls here.
I know.
That would have been terrible. But, all right, we did as much of the movie as we can. We're going on an hour and 20 minutes here. Final thoughts of the movie.
Final thoughts of the movie.
What worked? What didn't work?
It was an amazing movie. A couple points that I didn't like. I didn't like that Hulk didn't come out to play.
That's right. You saw Hulk in the Hulk, but I really thought Hulk was going to bust out of the Hulkbuster.
Busting out of the Hulkbuster would have been such an amazing scene.
Yeah.
But
I really felt it was like a Mark Ruffalo more FaceTime for him, because in the next movie they're probably going to get a lot of Hulk and he'll have very little FaceTime.
Yeah. So
I'm not sure if that was a comic book thing with Hulk ever not refusing to come out. No, like
oh no. I don't know. Actually,
I don't think I want to say no, it wasn't, but.
It could have been. Let us know, guys. If you guys are still around, let us know down below if it was or not. But yeah, no, my final thoughts on the movie. It was an amazing movie. So much happened in this movie. I love this every second of this movie. It was a wild ride.
Amazing movie.
Couple things that I didn't like about it.
Best movie ever.
But
nothing wrong with it.
But those aside, this movie was absolutely amazing, especially for what it was.
Did it live up to the 10-year hype?
It lived up to the 10-year hype.
It absolutely lived up to the 10-year hype. It is my favorite Marvel movie just upon the one view. And I know I'm probably like watching it with goggles on right now. Like, I'm like a little bit of recency bias maybe.
Yeah.
But
it had everything. It was so full. It was such a full movie.
I mean, the first Avengers was good, but there were slow parts in the first Avengers that kind of slowed the movie down.
I just rewatched the first Avengers. Still loved it as much as I did.
But this one was more my pace. Like
this was
nothing.
Well, that's because you have ADHD. That's why it was more your pace.
That's true. That's true.
But yeah, no, the movie was amazing.
Has this always been bricks?
And with that, we are actually going to go ahead and sign off now. We've given you guys a little bit more than an hour. If we keep going for another hour, we can actually, be almost as long as the actual movie.
I will say what I do want to do later this week, though, is a top 5 things we loved about Infinity Wars, and also maybe a top 5 things we didn't like so much about Infinity Wars.
Absolutely.
And then we can argue about that.
This has definitely been a very in-depth review. Really appreciate you guys sticking around and watching it. Anyway, awesome movie. Absolutely amazing. Please subscribe down below.
Can't wait for number 4.
Can't wait for number 4. Oh, do you want to talk real quick about what could possibly happen at number 4? Do you have any ideas for it?
Yes.
What could possibly happen?
My guess, just off the top of my head.
Off the top of your head.
The Peter Dinklage guy is still around who can still create weapons. They're going to create another gauntlet because the other gauntlet is broken. And one of the Avengers is going to have to use that gauntlet at the sacrifice of their life in order to be able to use it because they're not gods or whatever. Probably Captain America in combination with Iron Man somehow, and they sacrifice their lives to bring back the people who we lost at the end of this movie.
To undo like a time thing?
Yes.
Okay.
And I would hesitate to use the time stone to try and stay away from the time element.
Yeah.
I know people are talking about like, oh, they're going to use the time jump stuff or time elements. I think that's a very stupid way of retconning it. Have it be that they go after their own Infinity Gauntlet, or they go after some other way of maybe breaking all the stones undoes the damage they do, especially the Soul Stone releases the souls. But, obviously, in order to undo it, Thanos had to pay a price in order to make this happen.
Yep.
The Avengers are going to have to pay an equal price in order to undo what Thanos did.
Yep.
So we will lose some Avengers permanently. Loki, my best guess, Loki dead for good. Gamora dead for good until Guardians 3. Everybody else who had a corporeal death, gone. Maybe not Vision. And I'm going to guess the majority, if not all, of the people who were killed at the end by the snap come back.
Okay. That's pretty good.
But I think it's just going to be the next Avengers. Going to be a lot of it, dealing with the aftermath of it and finding out a way through Captain Marvel and maybe Adam. We had a little hint of Adam in Guardians 2.
Yeah.
Or something. Maybe he's just something even past that. That they find a way to undo what Thanos did. But again, at great cost.
See, but there's a few. I feel like there's a few different ways they can go with this. They can try to undo what Thanos did again by what you're saying, kind of having somebody else get a gauntlet type of thing. I think one thing they can do, I think would be kind of cool, would be basically just do the movie all over again. Essentially, once Thanos used and broke the gauntlet, all the stones dispersed out again, and now they have to go try to find them in their individual places, put them back together in order to undo everything. Or they can use the time. Somehow they can get the time stone in order to undo it. Or they can go almost the DC universe route and have multiple universes, and like I just said before, kind of pluck people from different universes to bring them back in one universe, so that way the people are dead, but they're not fully dead. There's a lot of different ways that they can go with this, or they can just not make any more Marvel movies and just have that be the end of the series.
That's not gonna happen. Disney.
The Infinity War to me is a holistic movie. I feel like if they just stopped the series, it wraps up.
After. Like just right now?
Right now, if they just stop the series, it wraps itself up. Right now, Thanos won, the bad guy won. Yeah, it sucks, but that's what happened.
I wonder how this is going to affect the TV shows. Because I know the TV shows try to be in continuity with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I think Infinity War isn't supposed to take place like way type of in the future, so all the movies that are coming out now are kind of happening before Infinity War, so I would imagine Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., that type of stuff would happen before
eventually they're going to have to address this.
Yeah, eventually they will.
Like if half their cast just starts disappearing in the middle
or like you see Steve Rogers in in some type of a Captain America spin-off that's predates Infinity War. He's like much older than he is actually in Infinity War.
I'll say this. Enjoy the next Avengers movie while you can, because I don't think we will have the original Avengers around for very much longer.
Anyway, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Really appreciate it. If you're new to our channel, please subscribe down below. Let us know what you guys think of our predictions, and we said a lot in this video. Please let us know what you guys think. Anyway, as always, this is Michael.
This is Kyle.
And this has been a spoiler review of Infinity War. An amazing movie.